easier for us. Have a look, see. There's Pacific Open. There's Pacific Elite. Good. The stream's still loading onto the channel, but the link is there. And there it is. The audio is definitely working. The chat's up, the stream's up, we're all good to go. Fantastic. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 9 of the PlayStation Pacific Elite Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your lead commentator for tonight, and this time we are racing at Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. Constructed in 2012 and designed by track-making Supremo Herman Tilke, the 5.51 kilometer 20-turn racetrack was created to try and rekindle the relationship between USA and Formula One after the events of the 2005 US Grand Prix at Indianapolis. With the Miami Grand Prix being introduced for the 2022 season, I'd say it's done its job. The circuit can produce some good racing with 2 DRS zones that lead into the unique uphill turn 1 that the drivers are coming up to now, and turn 12. The 2 corners provide the best overtaking opportunities on the racetrack, but we may also see a little bit of action as well into turn 15 in the final sector. The big concern for drivers tonight will be track limit warnings. The S section in the opening sector that Metz is going through right now, and is also incredibly reminiscent to the Maggots and Beckett section at Silverstone. And the penultimate corner of turn 19 tend to be hot spots for gathering warnings. There'll be key areas for us to look out for during the race and of course through qualifying. Now before we focus on qualifying, there is a little bit of news to go through first from last week's race at Singapore. There were 2 incident reports, one of which resulting in BPVA getting 1 penalty point for violating Rule 1.1.1 of the Race Spec Racing rules, and the other resulted in no further action, so essentially the results stand. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, Ferrari Pro is leading on 187 points, followed by ACW on 159, just 28 points behind. Plebs is next in P3, 38 points behind our leader on 149. And it's a fairly big gap to Pump 46. He's on 98 points, 51 behind Plebs. So at this stage, it's looking like a 3-way fight for the Drivers' Championship. Roscoe Arm completes the top 5 on 92, and completing the top 10, we have BPV8 in P6, Silderfort in P7, Alex Pato, now GeForce Pato in P8. Hillo's in 9th, and Bags Liddell rounds out the top 10. Looking at the constructors, Alfa Romeo are leading on 251 points, followed by McLaren on 222, then Ferrari on 210. Mercedes are 4th on 157, so similarly to the Drivers' Championship, it's looking like a 3-horse race in the constructors. Red Bull are 5th on 125, and completing the top 10, we have Haas in P6, followed by Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, Williams, and Alpine. And that's pretty much all the news out of the way. I can now introduce my co-commentator for this evening. It's once again KD1997. KD, thank you very much for being here. We're at your home racetrack, so how do you feel going into tonight's race?
Well, it should be interesting. Like you mentioned, it's one of the, I probably would say one of the fan favorites of Formula One in terms of like the circuits. It's great track, great for overtaking, and I probably would say it's been one of the best modern day circuits that we've had so far in F1. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers fare around here. Like you mentioned, the track limits is going to be a big factor, so it's going to be interesting to see how many penalties people will accumulate around here, especially through the S's where it's very easy to do so, or at the exit of turn 19 where I'm watching Metz go through right now. But yeah, you just got to be very careful with that, and yeah, it should be interesting how they'll fare.
Yeah, no, track limit warnings are definitely a major pain in the backside here. From a driving point of view, I've always sucked here at this circuit. I've never ever gelled with this racetrack. Though I know with you, KD, that's quite the opposite. So, what does it take from your point of view to be quick around here?
Well, pretty much you gotta nail the first sector, the S's. It's one of the crucial areas of the racetrack. You gotta make sure you stay within the white lines, not make any mistakes, of course, and just try your best to hug as much of the apex as you can. And then, of course, the middle sector, it's not too much really. You just got a couple of hairpins. Of course, you got the back straight as well. That leads up to turn 12. But the more technical area, which is turn, sorry, not turns, the third sector, I should say, where basically you have a lot of traction zones, especially turns 15, which is definitely crucial to get good exit speed. Then you got the flat out turns 16, 17, 18, which is a bit of a remnant too of the Istanbul turn 8. And then you've got turn 19, which, like I mentioned, you gotta have pinpoint entry and a pinpoint exit to get a good time on the board, pretty much.
I'll tell you what, KD, Ferrari Pro has just started a flying lap, seeing as it is your home circuit. Give us a guided tour of this racetrack.
Alright, so here we go, we're on turn 1. And listen to the apex just a little bit there. You want to hug the inside into turn 1, going down the crest into the S's of towards turns 2, and now up to towards, turns 3, 4, and 5. Like I said, you gotta hug the apex as much as you can through 6, up to 7. A little bit shaky there through that bit of the track. Up and over the crest, up through turn 9, up to turn 10, keeping it flat through there. Now into the braking zone of turn 11, hugging the outside curves there, braking just before the 50-meter board. Third gear on the exit. Now up, going down the back straightaway, open the DRS, let the speedo climb, should be reaching up to speeds of about 317 kilometers an hour, I want to say. Not close to that. Braking just before 50, second gear on the apex, third gear on the exit, up towards turn 13. Like I said, this is a more technical area of the racetrack, into 14, third gear on the exit, into turn 15, second gear. That's a lot of that. I take a little bit less than that, to be honest. Now to the flat-out area of turn 16, 17, and 18, and then into turn 19. Get a wide entry, pinpoint the apex, get a good exit on the exit of 19, into turn 20, hugging the apex on the inside. A little bit shaky on the exit, crossing the line. It's a 132.8. Not the cleanest of laps I've seen, even though it wasn't validated, but yeah, it was basically a little lap guide of the place. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah, made a small mistake at the exit of 19, ran too wide, and as a result he copped a warning, and hence an invalidated lap time. He's still pushing though, it seems, through this opening sector. You have to be pretty pinpoint accurate through there. You do not want to miss an apex, because if you do, you miss every single apex after that point. And I also got some information from Ferrari Pro that it should be a dry start, but I think, based off what the message says, we have, after 10 minutes after the race start, we should have rain. So it's going to be a mixed conditions race here at Kota. That should make things fairly interesting. It'll make it even more interesting if it went back to dry towards the end of the race. That's always interesting when it goes dry, wet and dry, because it causes so much drama and so much chaos. And there's a lot of thinking going on if that's the case as well, because you have to decide when to get off the slick tire onto the intermediate, then off the intermediate onto the slick tire again, and that's always very tricky to do. And so Ferrari Pro, he doesn't invalidate this time at turn 19, and he comes around the final corner of 20 up towards the line. It's a 32.1, much more competitive from Ferrari Pro. P3, he goes just behind Plevs and our current pole sitter ACW, who was set a 1 minute 31.731. As Bags is going to complete a flying lap here, crosses the line. He jumps up to P2 with a 31.8, only a tenth behind our current pole sitter. Let's see who else is on the lap. Andre here, currently 14th, sporting a Ricardo helmet. He's making his way.
Yellow flags there. That's probably for ACW going slowly.
I think so, yeah. Probably trying to get out of people's way, maybe, or maybe he did make a genuine mistake. And also, while we were chatting, Keegdew retired, crashing out at the exit of turn 1. I noticed his stationary dot at the exit of turn 1. Very easy corner to lose the back end. And I've seen on quite a few occasions drivers retiring at that spot. It's quite a important traction zone as turn 2 is flat out. And you want to carry as much speed as possible as you can into the S section. But,
yeah, and then the knowing too that these guys are running no line, it's very difficult to know where to put the entry point of the S's because it's a blind entry. So you have to guess where the correct line is before you get to the S's.
It's the same thing with turn 19 because there's a slight crest that covers the apex, so you can't see it. And even though there's a tall orange curb on the inside as Andre jumps up to P9, even though there's a tall curb on the inside, it doesn't go over the crest. So you've got no visual reference whatsoever for that corner. So you have to guess. Exactly the same with turn 3. So
exactly.
Yeah, it's not
and
fun.
now we're watching Pump come around actually right at turn 19.
Around the
Coming to
final
the turn.
with the sun glaring into your camera view as Pump goes P6 with a 32.2, only 8 thousandths of a second behind Hilles, who's currently on a flying lap, making his way through the final sector. I always hated that final corner for that exact reason, with the sun just right in your face. It's a bit distracting as he cuts way too much.
Wait, he's invalidated this and the next one too as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is that it's set to what the original qualifying time is, which I know when they race a cut, it's around 4 o'clock at Texas when they, around that time.
Yeah.
When they do their qualifying. So it's in the autumn, so obviously the sun's gonna be glaring onto the track, and it's so annoying. It's really annoying to deal with.
Speaking of annoying, imagine validating right at the final corner after setting a pretty competitive lap. I mean, we've all done that, haven't we? Where we've strung a really good lap together and we threw it away at exactly the last corner. Well, that's something that Kiefer's Pato has just done. He did a 31.9. He would have been the third driver in the 31s, but he invalidated right at the final turn, and as a result, his next lap has also been invalidated. It kind of sucks, but that's the nature of the beast. You just have to put up with it.
Keep in mind on Plebs, he's about a 10th up through the middle sector, so he's looking like a 31 coming up here as well.
Needs to get this final sector right, though, and there's a lot to do in this final sector around the triple right-hander of 16, 17, and 18, keeping it absolutely flat out as he heads into turn 19, brings it down to 5th gear, uses all the curb on the exit, doesn't invalidate. That's the critical thing. Around turn 20, the final corner. Now the dash up to the line. It's P2 for Plebs. He misses out on pole position by 0.5 tenth of a second. So it's pretty close at the top as ACW now starts another flying lap. Can he improve? And if so, by how much? Around turn 1, using 4th gear on the exit to try and maximise traction. Around turn 2, into the S's. Turn 3, 4, 5, into turn 6. It's basically a double right-hander. Then into turn 7. The first sector is completed. He's up by almost 2 tenths. Around turn 8, into turn 9. Keeping well away from that orange curve on the inside. Around turn 10. And towards the hairpin of turn 11. Hard on the brakes. Just after the 100 board. Cutting way too much.
That's way too much.
That's
way too much.
Way too much there at turn 10. That's a...
Yeah, you may have heard me react as well before that. I was reacting to how close he was to the curve at turn 9. I thought he was going to validate there before that. But, no.
He definitely did it at turn 11. He cut all of that and then some, I reckon. Because, yeah, there's no way you could get away with that.
Nah. And that lap was, that lap was really good as well because you saw how committed he was to those apexes as well for the S's.
And he was up by 2 tenths in the opening sector, which is a fairly healthy improvement. So
yeah, I reckon he would have done like maybe mid to low 31 if he would have got that lap nailed.
Still got a few drivers out on track though. We got Power Side here about to start a flying lap. Not the best exit out to 20. That's okay. We'll see how he does up at turn 1, entering at 304 kilometers an hour. Brings it down to second gear, short shifting to third, using a gear lower compared to ACW. Through turn 2, in towards the S's. Turns 3, 4, into 5, then the double right of 6. Modulating the brake and the throttle nicely. The first sector says he's up by a tenth and a half. Around turn 8, then into the tricky turn 9. Have to be very careful on the power there at turn 9. Through turn 10, down the hill towards turn 11. Nice wide approach using all of the white and red curb on the outside. Oh, a bit of extra rotation at the apex there. As he heads down the long straightaway towards turn 12. DRS wide open. Speed climbs up and over 310 kilometers an hour, hitting 316 into the braking zone of turn 12. The clock says Power Side is up by 0.3 of a second in the middle sector, a healthy improvement. Can he find any time here in the final sector? Around turn 15, we might see some overtaking here because the natural racing line forces drivers wide on the entry, leaving a big gap on the inside for drivers to try and send it down the inside, Kvyat style. It's not a bad overtaking spot. Around the penultimate corner and into the final corner of turn 20. He'll open DRS, cross the line, and he actually lost time in the final sector. He improves to P11 with a 1 minute 33.878.
Ferrari Pro's about to be the next one to get ready for his flying lap now.
Yeah, he's just crossed the control line. He's making his way up towards turn 1. Silverfort's making his way around turn 10. He's in the middle of the middle sector, quite literally. The first sector for Ferrari Pro. Turns 3, 4, 5. Into turn 6. Trying to carry as much speed as he can. The first sector says he's up by 72 thousandths of a second. Around turn 8, then turn 9. Keeping that car nice and stable. No hint of oversteer, no hint of understeer just yet. Around the hairpin of turn 11 onto the long straightaway. Now let's see, where's Plevs? Plevs is making his way out of the triple right-hander. ACW is going through it, so those guys are getting ready. Down towards turn 12. Brings it down to second gear, does Ferrari Pro. The clock says he is up by just under 0.2 of a second. He needs to improve by just over 0.4 to take pole position, so this needs to be a mega final sector from Ferrari Pro. Around turns 16, 17 and 18. Up towards turn 19. Down to fifth gear. Uses enough of the curb on the inside and outside of the left-hander. Around turn 20. Up towards the line. It's P4. He improves by 0.2 to set a 31.9. But it's not enough to take pole position. Bags, he's just up on his previous best by 4 thousandths of a second. Plevs is up by a tenth in the first sector. ACW, I'm not too sure. But he's making his way around.
He was up by 2.5 tenths of the first sector.
Right.
ACW.
Bags making his way around turn 19. And he invalidates. So his lap is done.
Yep, good night. Plevs down by 4/100ths to the middle.
He's making his way around turn 15. This needs to be a pretty solid final sector, because ACW is well and truly flying. Around the triple right-hander goes Plevs. Keeps the pedal to the metal. Oh, and he's invalidated his lap as well, so he will not be improving. ACW makes his way around the penultimate corner, turn 19, and invalidates too. Well then, this could have been quite an interesting qualifying session as somebody put a lap together and ACW improved by half a second. Oof.
That's it. So he lost a lot more time in the third sector, because I was watching his lap. He lost about nearly a tenth through the middle sector compared to what his first sector was. So he had a lot of time through that final sector. Right. Okay. Oh, that's a shame.
It looked like it was going to be a mega lap, but he threw it away with 2 corners to go. But it's still pole position for ACW, but only half a tenth separating the top 2. Plevs will also start on the front row next to ACW. Look at that. Very, very close. Fantastic. Bags is third, only a tenth behind, followed by Ferrari Pro, our championship leader in P4. GeForce Pato will start from P5, then Hillers P6, Pump P7, Roscoe Arm in 8, Silverfort in 9th, and Andre rounds out the 10. Powerside will start P11, followed by Black Moon, Metz, Brood, and Keegdug. After crashing out at the beginning of qualifying, will start from last. After crashing out at turn 1, right at the beginning of qualifying. Now, those drivers outside the top 10, I would think they'll be probably starting on the soft tyre. Maybe the mediums, because it's going to be raining 10 minutes in, so there's no point picking a really hard tyre for the opening stint. You can see it's fairly overcast. Yeah, can't speak. Fairly overcast already. So, be interesting to see what the drivers do. Just fixing something.
Oh yeah, and also, add on to the race as well. ACW gave me more confirmation saying the rain will be going to the end of the race.
Oh, righto.
So if you wanted to know that bit as well.
That might dull things a little bit then. Because typically when it gets wet, the racing tends to slow down, become a bit boring. We'll wait and see though. Drivers set off on the formation lap. See who's starting on what tyre. And what do you know? Everyone is starting on the softs. All of them are starting on the soft tyre. Not a single one on the mediums. Fair enough, I suppose. The rain is coming fairly early, so there's no point dilly-dallying around on the medium tyre. Just get on the softs and go for it. Don't need that graphic up anymore. Don't need the tyre graphic. We know what everyone's starting on.
And also to note, the top 5, well, apart from Ferrari Pro, have slightly underfueled car as well, because I've noticed the yellow icon on the telemetry. So,
yeah. Good spot.
Obviously, probably some purpose for it, just to make it a lighter car. Obviously, the fuel will be easier to save once the rain comes.
Yeah, that's right. Like, the cars won't be consuming anywhere near the rate of fuel as they would in the dry, so might as well underfuel the car. There's probably a fair chance of a safety car as well, particularly in these sort of mixed conditions, so might as well take the risk. It's a fairly calculated risk at that as well, so might as well. I know that's intelligent, because you'll be saving that much fuel over the course of the wet stint. You'll have quite a heavy car towards the end of the race compared to your rivals who underfueled. They'll have a relatively light car, and that brings about a whole heap of benefits. Leaders are now coming back on, well, back around to the end of the racetrack. We'll start to line up into their respective grid slots. Can get this race on the way. Thank you, Billy. So, rain about lap 7 to 10. So let's keep that in mind. So in the top left, we've got the lap counter. Lap 7 to 10 is about when the rain should start. Okay. Might start a bit earlier, knowing the game.
Yeah, so. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Leaders are lined up ready to go. Keeg is lining up into his grid slot, ready to race. Got 15 cars tonight. It's not the biggest field in the world, but it's a pretty healthy sized field. Got 28 laps in front of us and 10 red lights. And we are underway here in Texas. And it's a nice start from Plevs on the inside. He's going to lead the field up into turn 1. It's 3 wide just behind between Bags, Ferrari Pro and Pato as they head down towards turn 2. Pato still trying to fight with Ferrari Pro. Can't get it done though at turn 2 as they head into the opening sector S section. Around turn 6 they go. No major drama on the opening lap as of yet. Around turn 7, up into turn 8. Then into the tricky left-hander of turn 9. The leaders get through unscathed. Powersight's overtaken by Black Moon. Powersight loses the back end at turn 9. Fortunately, nothing bad has come about from that. Pato is overtaken. Oh, hang on. Have we got cars off the road? Pump and Gilles off the road. Drag race here.
I don't get a place there. I wonder if there was something that happened there at turn 12. Oh, here comes Ellis down the inside.
Oh, and Bags tries to follow.
Bags, how are you doing?
I thought Bags was going to spin there, in all honesty. When you see a car do that, it usually doesn't end well. So I think Bags can count his lucky stars there. Oh, he's awfully close to Roscoe Arm at turn 15. Around the triple right-hander. Bags can't fight on the outside. You're not allowed to do that, I'm afraid. As they head towards the penultimate corner of turn 19. He's right behind the Alfa Romeo though. He's trying to get back by as Plevs. He's got a 4/10 margin to ACW. He converted incredibly well off the line. Just got so much more traction compared to ACW. And because he had that inside line being P2 on the grid, you know, he was able to cover off ACW into turn 1. And lead the field for a whole lap. Now it's a matter of staying there. Now, as Metz runs wide at turn 6. Pump can't find a way through, but he is close. Andre isn't too far behind either as they go up through turns 8 and 9. Metz running wide, not getting great traction. And here comes Pump using a bit of overtake. He's trying to draw alongside. He dives it up the inside. Can Metz get the switch back? He gets a half-decent run, but not the greatest run out of the hairpin. He's got a bit of slipstream, though, to help him out. Not bothering to use any battery, though, heading down this straightaway. As Silderfort gets by Bags for P7 as they head into turn 12. That's not quite close enough. A big lock-up from somebody there at turn 12 as well. You could see that big plume of white smoke as Bags, I think, almost went up the back of Silderfort. At turn 13, he was very close. I think he might have actually touched him.
Yeah, he was fairly close. I can't see any damage on the Mercedes. It looks perfectly fine.
Wait and see, I suppose, as Powersight and Rude change places for P14 and 15. Well, he's not going into the pits, so I suppose he didn't actually touch Silverford. He just was very, very close. DRS is now enabled. And Plevs, he'll have ACW right on his gearbox in a few moments. DRS will help out the Alfa Romeo tremendously down the long straightaway before turn 12. See the ACW as well, just keeping within range of Plevs, about 6/10 behind or so.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial for him because if the rain's coming really quickly, he needs to get in front of Plebs because you got track position and, like you mentioned before, very difficult to overtake in the wet, I'd say. It's a bit tricky in Coda, but yeah, you got to take the opportunity now if you get the chance.
DRS wide open for the Alfa Romeo. I don't think ACW will be close enough. And there's the rain. It has started on lap 3, so it did start early, so probably
ACW almost
goes into the back of him. Yeah. Roscoe Arm overtook Gilles, and I think Bags overtook Silderfort with DRS. So, based off what Billy said, it will probably turn to intermediate conditions on lap 7 through 10. But the rain begins now, and that's Bags.
That's Bags. Yeah, he spun at 14.
Ah, yikes. A pretty good qualifying. All that work is being undone. Here in the opening 3 laps of this race, he's down to last.
Going in. And ACW. Fair enough, everyone's coming in.
Everyone's coming. Really? I think this is too early, is it?
I mean, it looks like it is. It's not quite. Well, you can see the wet surfaces starting to form. But,
oh my goodness. It's been drizzling and it's already puddles on the racetrack.
Yeah. Pato didn't stop. He didn't
want a double stack, I think.
Oh, true. He didn't want. Yeah, that's fair enough. Rude didn't even.
And there it is.
Yep. DRS is
Wow.
disabled. Yeah. Well, there you go. That was quick.
That was insane.
And Rude almost went to ACW.
And he's still on the
At
slick
turn
tire.
2. Yeah, and he's... Oh, Frog Bro's got to be extremely careful.
Rude trying his best to get out of the way there, cutting the racetrack. Poor fella. And he's still got overtake on. Turn it off. Turn the overtake off. He's still got it on. Here we go.
Goodbye.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but I've done that mistake before in Canada.
I did it as well. Recently, I think, at Sandville.
Yeah, I leave the overtake on. Yeah, I remember that, actually.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah. Well, poor Pato, he's going to be losing whole heaps of time.
He will be. And here comes Ferrari Pro closing in on ACW, so we got a fight between the top 3 in the championship, who are more than likely going to be the top 3 on track.
Yeah, struggling there at turn 11.
Yeah, the rain has come.
Yeah, and
very
Pato's
early.
Pato's lost about 3 seconds alone.
But
more now.
Credit to the Italian. He's kept the car straight, hasn't spun, and he's not going in.
He's still out. You're kidding. What? Why are you not going in? I would have gone in by now.
Oh, I would have thought so too, but no, he stayed out.
Okay.
What's the game plan? Look at his car, it's everywhere. Like, is it supposed to dry up? Like,
I don't know. I don't know what his game plan is, because it's going to rain the entire time. Still before meanwhile gets past Mets.
Yeah.
For the first corner.
Here comes Plez.
Pato gets out of the way.
Here comes ACW.
He's ACW.
And here comes Ferrari Pro. Hello, Ferrari Pro. Oh!
That is close.
That's tight. That's tight.
Bad is for ACW is that cost them a tad bit of time to Plebs.
Yeah, the gap's increased to 9/10. Here's Hilles now arriving right behind Q-Force Pato, and there he goes. Leaving Pato in his wake, and here comes Roscoe on. They're probably all thinking, what is Pato doing? On slicks?
I'm thinking this. We're all thinking the same thing. Literally.
He's pumped. Unless he's doing some sort of audacious strategy here.
He's literally driving on ice skates at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's a perfect demonstration, isn't it, of how much grip you have on slick tyres in these sort of conditions. You have no grip at all.
Nope.
Sector
Yellow
1.
Flags.
That's Black Moon, I think.
Black Moon. He's going backwards, is he? Oh, wait, no, never mind. I thought he was going backwards for a moment.
Okay, are you going in now? Oh, yeah, he's going. Oh, hello, Silverfoot.
Oh!
Okay, he's going into the pits now.
I saw that as soon as I popped onto him.
You know, after thinking about it, trying to work out a reason why he's gone longer, he's on to the full wet tyre.
Rude's on wet tires too. Well, I mean, I know he's a long way back, but still.
He's on the full wet tyre.
So's Key Dog. He's in the.
Well, how about that? Maybe it's raining that hard that it's going to go from intermediates to full wets like that. So instead of doing the extra stop, he's decided to do another lap on the soft tyre, then hop onto the wet tyre. Now, it's probably still intermediate conditions at this point. Is it?
Yeah.
No, wait, he's closing in on Black Moon. Well, kind of. Not really now. He was closing in that opening few corners.
I don't think it's full wets yet. It's not even. I don't think it's close to it yet. Well, it's either he's gonna live like a genius, or this whole plan's gone to a complete flop. Is what it is.
Well, he's taking a gamble, and I like it. So.
Yeah. Fair credit to the Italian. But no, he's losing time.
Because, yeah, I was trying to brainstorm a reason why he might do that, and I was about to say that he might hop onto the full wet tyre instead of hopping onto the intermediates.
Maybe he was misjudging the weather, because remember how quickly it went to go to the intermediates? He probably thought it was going to be a quick transition to the wets.
And he's actually lost a considerable amount of time now to Blackman. The gap's increased to 3.2 seconds. So those tyres are probably overheating, which is why he's losing time. So whether the conditions need to get worse for Pato here. They need to get substantially worse. Yeah. And he's staying out. He's going to try and make this work.
He's currently about 37 and a half seconds to the leader.
Yellow flag.
Oh, Mets. He's off. Yeah.
He's got a missing end plate too.
Yeah. Too much acceleration out of the exit, I'd say. Well,
he'll have to come in and get that fixed.
Well, Pato's definitely more than a pit stop behind. That's definitely for sure. Can't say that. But I think it's about like, what is it, like roughly about 25 seconds you lose in the pit lane?
Yeah, it'll be something like that. It's not a particularly slow pit lane here at Circuit of the Americas, so...
It's coming back in, by the way.
Yeah.
And gets a 3-second penalty to his troubles.
That was for cutting the pit lane entry, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That's quite easy to do. I've done that on a couple of occasions. Because you got all that spare room on the inside that looks so inviting. And, yeah, you use all of it, and then you get a warning. Hold on.
Wait, what?
Hilles is off the racetrack.
ACW's coming in.
Plebs is coming in. I think it's now full wet conditions.
Oh, it's a full wet condition. Well.
Yeah, it's full wet conditions now.
Alright.
So we'll get to see how long this pit lane truly is.
Let's see, where's Pato? He's coming around turn 15 game.
Yes, he's not going to jump into the lead, that's for sure.
No, he's not. He's not even close.
So the gamble hasn't worked. Seems.
Yeah, so he misjudged it completely. Ouch.
I'm not sure if he intended the gamble, or maybe he tried to make something happen after staying out for an extra lap. Don't know. But, whatever he's done, it hasn't worked.
Yeah, and Pump's losing time a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I saw Hilles off at turn 19. It was sort of the first indication that maybe the intermediates were starting to phase out and the wet tyre was starting to phase in because of the conditions. Like, he was way off, out of control, but managed to save it. Credit to him. He saved it pretty well. He's in P6, 1.2 seconds behind Roscoe.
We're going to have another Singapore, aren't we, where it's just watching a race of attrition.
Essentially, yeah, but it won't be as much attrition-based now because we're not at a racetrack like Singapore.
Yeah, that's true.
You got the walls literally everywhere. It will still be attrition, that's for sure. Because if you make a mistake, you can end up on the grass, lose a whole heap of time, your tyre temps get scrambled. You have to get the tyres back to optimal temperature. And you can still end up in the wall. His pump stays out.
Yeah, he's got a penalty as well for good measure. Yeah, but like I said, it's difficult to pass, I would say, in these conditions around Coda. Despite it being great for overtaking. But I can't say that in the past whenever I've raced around this place. It's a great circuit, but in the way, it's just not the greatest in terms of just trying to have a good battle. What was an ACW? He won't miss the apex of the first corner.
He most certainly did. Took a very wide line at turn 1. Yeah. Actually, it's got me thinking, have we ever had a wet US Grand Prix at Kota?
We've had intermediate one in 2015.
Righto.
It was the start of it. Start of the race. Yeah.
Pato gets by Andre for P9 as well. Because yeah, I was thinking my like recent memory books, trying to work out have we actually had a proper wet race in real life at Kota? I just couldn't think of one. But yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
it was when like Nico and Lewis battled out in the first corner, and then that was also the famous moment in the whatever they call the victory room, whatever it's called, where Nico threw the
yeah,
hat
that's
at
right.
him.
And
Yeah, it was.
what was it called? The rostrum or something.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I do remember that now with Nico and Lewis. Yeah.
I think that time too was sorry.
No, continue.
I was gonna say too. I think that was also the debut from when Alexander Rossi raced in the Formula One
in the Manor.
Well, in the Manor, yeah. Or was it Marussia at the time?
Oh goodness, it could have been Marussia.
Oh, it was Marussia. Yeah, no, it was in 2014. Not 15,
yeah, because
sorry.
Marussia and somebody else turned into Manor for 2016, I think, and then they eventually faded out at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I vaguely remember that.
I'll have to look that up just to remember.
Yeah. Always Bags has a bit of a moment at turn 1. Seems that what you said has sort of come true. Sort of everybody's holding station, trying to survive, rather than try and race one another, which you kind of expect in these conditions.
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, I was correct. It was 2015 when Alexander Rossi raced.
Okay.
Funny enough, he finished 12th that race as well. He was the last one on the grid as well. Yeah, Kvyat, Hulkenberg, Roksen, Raikkonen, Massa, Grosjean, Bottas, Stevens, all retired.
Oh God, Stevens. Will Stevens? Is that his name?
Yep. Will Stevens.
That's a name I have not heard in a long time in Formula 1 world.
Crazy, huh? I know, crazy, huh?
Someone's had a moment. It's Bags Liddell. That was at turn 12. But man, there's some old names that used to race but don't race.
Yeah, and it was a wet race. Yeah, just so I was correct. I just wasn't entirely sure. I thought it was either. I just didn't know if it was 14 or 15.
Yeah.
But no, I was right the first time.
2015.
Oh, it's ACW's gotten closer, and because Plebs just went completely wide at turn 1, he lost about 2/10 that first corner alone.
Gab now hovering at about 4. Staying about even. Actually, no, Plebs is pulling away just a little bit through the opening sector, suggesting that Plebs might have slightly higher wings compared to ACW. Oh, well, that and the dirty air that ACW is having to put up with. And there's a brief penalty check as well. 3 seconds for Pub, 3 seconds for Silderfort, 3 seconds for Black Moon, Metz and Rude in P13, 14 and 15. Everyone else has currently got no pens. Well,
I'll add Bags to that list.
Yeah, correct. Now got 6 out of the 15. We're not at the halfway mark either, though. So we've got a fair way to go until we reach that. ACW cut an awful lot of turn 12 there. Not afraid to try and abuse the track limits as much as he can through all of the corners. But it's taking quite a narrow line through turn 15. Oh,
and gets a twitch there as well before 6 turn. And I could hear him locking up as well. I thought he would miss the apex though, not gonna lie. And that is Rude, that's spun.
Yeah, he'll get going again.
Yes, it's
Roscoe.
Excuse me. Now into the list of penalties.
Yep. And we got 7 of them. They've got pens. We've got 7 naughty boys at the moment.
There's 8 now.
Well, no. 7.
Actually, wait, no.
Silverport.
Oh, wait, no, yeah, Silverport got...
He's
got
now
the other
just a
penalty.
double naughty boy. So,
Yeah, that's right, now he's 6 seconds.
6 seconds.
Right, forgot that.
Let's just pull away a little bit. This is very, 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 very similar to Singapore with these two. Plevs in front, ACW in second.
And then
these
Ferrari
two
Pro
stay...
just somehow losing time.
Yeah, just a little bit here and there. It's nothing massive. It's probably just little mistakes that Ferrari Pro is doing, that it's losing in time. Then he'll gain it back again with the two in front making little mistakes. Then he'll make a little mistake and lose time. It's all about micromanaging those mistakes.
Sure.
So.
Oh, did he? Nope, never mind. Oh. I'm sorry to interrupt you there. No, it was just, I thought Ferrari Pro lost time, and then I realized, oh, it's just lag. Because I'm experiencing a bit of lag at my end.
Oh, as ACW runs wide at turn 12.
Okay, that was not lag.
No.
That's for sure.
He genuinely ran wide.
On my end, it was pretty much, I saw Ferrari Pro, like, go sideways a little bit at the exit 11. That's why I thought, oh, he lost time. Then I realized it wasn't.
But again, it's just about micromanaging those little mistakes that you make in these conditions. Those little mistakes really do add up. And also to note, Rude has retired. And his car is going back out of the pits. That's great. Where is it?
It's not. It's at turn 1. At the apex of turn 1.
Now, what's the AI going to do here? Where's the AI off to? Is it going to do a full lap of the circuit? It might do. Because that is a glitch. That's very much a glitch in the game. And there it goes. It pulls off. There you go. At turn 3.
Well, okay.
There you go.
And I think that caught Plevs a little bit off guard.
It'll catch anyone off guard seeing that in front of you. Especially at turn 3. Actually, it might have helped him a bit. Because he could have told himself, aim for that car and I'll hit the apex. Because obviously the AI knows what it's doing. So, aim for the red light and I'll hit the apex at turn 3.
There you go.
Why not? Ghost thing, I'm pretty certain is turned on, so go right through it.
Yeah. No, it didn't look like it on my end. Unless it's just, again, lag.
Oh,
which I am experiencing a bit.
It's probably just a game doing silly things. It always does that. Roscoe Arm has closed in a little bit as well. I don't think he was 1.6 seconds behind these three. He's now 1.6 seconds behind. So
Metz has got another penalty.
And Hellez isn't too far behind either. Yes, Metz has got a pen. He's now got 6 seconds. So we're back down to 6 naughty boys and 1 retired boy. So
yeah. I think I remember that Roscoe was like over 2 seconds at one point.
Well, he's closed in by a fair bit. He's now 1.4 behind this 3, so he is closing in. He's got... Oh! And Ferrari Pro!
Almost makes a mistake there.
Ooh, he almost put it into the wall at the final corner. He almost threw everything away. Fortunately, though, he found enough grip to keep it out of the barrier. He's still in the race as Metz is getting out of people's way. That's good to see. There's the opening sector. See how tentative you have to be here through this sector. Be so gentle on the brakes, on the accelerator, on the steering as well. Don't want to turn in too hard, otherwise the back end can go away from you. You can lose control and end up into the wall.
And also, Roscoe's closed up a little bit more in that mistake as well. He's now under a second to Ferrari Pro.
Bit unfortunate then, he's got that 3-second time penalty next to his name. Would have made this quite a bit more interesting. But he's got that pen, so it'd be difficult for him to fight genuinely for position unless the 3 in front also get penalties. So this seems to be the only battle going on in the field. Everyone else is fairly well spread. There is a bit of a battle between Pump and Silverfoot, as I think ACW had half a moment there, and here comes Ferrari Pro. He's right on the gearbox of ACW, exiting turn 18, around 19. Oh, gee whiz, fellas, do you want to miss the apex by any more? My goodness. Around turn 20, like, I'm no good at this, but I know they definitely missed the apex by a fair bit there at turn 19. And Roscoe, he's a little ways behind, half a second behind. Pump's now got another 3-second time penalty. He rotated the car. Looked like the front end didn't really want to turn in there, but he managed to get it turned in.
I think this is the part too where I mentioned before earlier where I said ACW had to stay in front of Plebs. I think this is the main reason why. Is I think ACW starting to get a little bit frustrated being stuck in this middle bit of the pack.
Well, Plebs is just not making mistakes.
No, he's just minding his own
making
business.
enough mistakes. You'll make little ones here and there because that's what we all do. But he's managing them really well, and he's keeping up a very very consistent pace. I got there in the end. But ACW, he's probably quicker, but he can't be consistently quicker. And because of the wet conditions as well, and because of the dirty air nature coming off these cars, going through the first sector, losing time, it's difficult to get the run together to try and pass. It's the exact same situation at Singapore. Like, he's closed in to 6/10 through these couple of sectors. He's starting to lose a little bit of time as Black Moon gets another 3-second time penalty. He's 8/10 behind now, 8.5/10. He probably closes in through 19 and 20, I imagine. Look at that. He closes into 8 or so tenths towards the final corner. Then 7.5 tenths as Hillez now gets a penalty.
Welcome to the Naughty Boys.
That's it. Down in P5. The ACW gained about a tenth through those two corners. Doesn't gain too much down the straight. Around turn 1. Gap still hovering at about 7/10 or so. Just Plebs holding his nerve and ACW having no answer to it at the moment.
Well, there is something to keep in mind about the top three. They both have 2 warnings. So, one little slip up, you get straight into the naughty bin.
That's right. Again, just managing those mistakes. Whoever manages them best will probably end up winning this race. So, and it's never fun driving with 2 warnings. I can say that with absolute confidence. It sucks driving with 2 warnings.
Yeah, because you don't want to cut the apexes or whatever the case is.
You don't want to drive anywhere near as aggressively because you know full well if you make even the tiniest mistake, the game shows no mercy, or very little mercy. Sometimes it does show mercy, but generally it's very, very little mercy. So, one tiny mistake and there goes your whole race. It's that easy. So,
I think I had that situation last week at Singapore. I had 2 warnings. And both of them were, I think, were from cutting turn 13, which is like... No, wait, no. 11, I think. It's before the Anderson Bridge.
Yeah, the chicane.
The chicane bit or whatever it is. Yeah, I've had moments where I cut a bit too much of it and then I get a warning for it.
Yeah, that's easy to do. Especially at Singapore because there's so many corners that in order to be competitive, you have to cut. You just have to cut them as much as you can. Because if you don't, then you're losing several tenths. Or as Ferrari Pro has a moment and a half at the exit of turn 2. A nice catch, though.
Oh, hello.
But there is the final warning. So that warning came about because of a mistake at turn 2. Again, those little mistakes that add up. Mistake at turn 2, it compromised him into the S section, and as a result, he had to go off the racetrack, and he got a warning for it. So now, he has 3 seconds next to his name. So,
but now, Roscoe and Hellas, though, they can fight for position if they want to try to get past Ferrari Pro.
So it's now a genuine battle. But how much will they battle is the proper question. Like, they're close together, but it'll be difficult to pass. You need really, really good runs, especially out of turn 11 and turn 20, the final corner, in order to try and overtake into turn 1 and turn 12, because you have no DRS to help you. Ideally, you probably want the car in front to make a mistake at one of those two key corners, so then you can get the run towards turn 1. So I suppose in their position, what they have to do, like in Roscoe's position, as Metz has crashed out, we have a safety car
deployed.
Right. Well, this will squish everyone up.
Turn 14 is where he's crashed. Interesting. Get my educated, I guess he probably went too wide. Lost the back end.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, his car's despawned.
Yeah. Well, the good news is for the guys that's underfield, well, they can not have to worry about that anymore.
Got a few drivers in the pit lane too. What have they put onto? Fresh wets for bags as well. Yep. No one's gambling with an intermediate tyre. So obviously the conditions aren't set to improve. Because if they were set to improve, I reckon a couple of them might gamble onto a set of intermediates.
Yeah, well, this also brings Pato into this mix, because he's got no penalties.
Nope. And with the field bunched up, but he is on 11 lap old wets, as Metz leads the session. And he did a few of those in less than ideal conditions for the full wet tyre, so he probably has a little bit more tyre wear compared to everyone else. Now I'll be interested to see what these leaders do, because they're all fairly close to one another. They're all packed behind the safety car now, I've noticed. But will they pit? That's the question. Do you pit?
I probably would not do so just because of track position.
See, what do you gamble with? Do you want
on the intermediates?
I'm guessing he's just taking a gamble. That'll be my guess. Like, he's in last, why not? You know?
True. If the
see what the conditions are like now, and if they're no good, well, get off the inter, get back onto the full wet tyre, no problem. You know? He doesn't lose any track position. Doesn't hurt him at all. So, no harm in experimenting. Yeah. Do you want fresh tyres? Are you confident these tyres can go to the end? And if so, if you are confident they can get to the end, do you stay out? Let's find out. Plevs stays out. Ferrari Pro not going in either. Same with ACW. Roscoe doesn't go in. Oh, hello. Pumps into the pit lane. So he's going to sacrifice track position for better tyres. Intermediate tyres.
So he's going for the gamble as well.
He's going for a gamble.
But I like it. I do like it though.
Yeah. Why not?
It'll either look smart. Yeah. And if it goes right, well, you look incredibly smart.
Yeah. You're a genius.
That's going in as well.
You're a strategic genius. Pump gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Oh, he's lost it, I think, at turn 1. And he completely cut turn 1 because he didn't get it for multiple warnings. He got it for cutting turn 1.
Parasite's gone to a new set of wets. Alright.
The conditions good enough.
Gets ahead.
Conditions aren't good enough just yet, but will they get better? Will it get nicer?
I honestly can't see it improving, but hey, we'll see.
And Hill has P5 on fresh tyres. How about that?
Yeah, keep your eyes on him. Definitely. Who knows what he's got up his sleeve?
Might as
So
well
I would
say
imagine-
hello to the chat as well. I noticed a few people commenting in here. Broke Vegan, hello. Gav, hello. Zach, nice to see you're watching. Hello, Brandon, as well.
Oh, no hello for me, Crichton?
Nah, it's all good, Katie. It's all right.
No,
okay.
I'm just taking it. I'm just messing around. I probably doesn't know that I was gonna do it anyway, so it's fair enough. They're probably gonna imagine the safety car will come in
Next
probably,
lap.
well, not this one, but the next.
Yeah. I also got a message from Billy again. Rain wasn't set to improve, so it's going. According to the game, it's supposed to be full wet from here to the checkered flag. As Hillez was looking like he was going to go in, he's decided not. Same as Silderfort. So the drivers playing a little bit of games with one another. Playing some mind games. Oh, I'm going in. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going. No, I'm not. Well, Pump hasn't backed out of his gamble. He's staying on the intermediate. I mean, why not? I guess. What's the worst that could happen?
Fair credit. Yeah, I mean, you could say the same story with Black Moon. That's what's
why
gonna
not?
happen.
You know. So long as they meet the, what is it? Is it 90% requirement that you get classified?
90%.
I think that's how it works in the game. I think.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that last week in the American series. I think it's 90%.
Yeah. Because the game will classify you if you met that 90% thing, and I think we also classify them in the points too. So. Oh, Gav, it's not the best race in the world purely because of the wet weather conditions. You know, wet weather racing isn't usually incredibly entertaining. And even with this restart, everyone's going to be in their own little safety shell. They wouldn't want to attack one another. Because they know full well if they attack too hard, even by just a little bit, there's a really high chance that they'll ruin their race. And nobody wants to risk that. Nobody wants to risk that at all. So, even with this restart, I think everybody will be fairly tame. I don't think anyone will push, except for maybe ACW, because this might be his golden opportunity to try and go for the lead. Because he knows if Pleb stays in front, it's going to be quite tough to pass him. Because he's been trying to do that for the past, 20 laps or so. Anyway, so Pleb's checking up the field, slowing everyone down, getting ready for the restart. Plenty of weaving going on. You want your tyres to be nice and warm for the restart. Nobody wants to be on cold tyres. ACW staying right behind. A bit of shenanigans going on in the midfield as Plebs takes off. Around the final corner. Big lock up there from ACW. Missing the apex there.
I'm going to call him a little bit there.
Down the main straight we go. We begin lap 21 of 28.
Had a bit of wiggle there at the final turn.
Drivers weaving down the main straight, trying to get temperature into their tyres. They head around turn 1. Or Silderford and Hillez side by side.
I think.
Around turn 2, Silderford can't hang it around the outside. Hillez stays in P5 as they head into the S section. Turns 3, 4, 5, then into turn 6. Silderford is close, but he won't be able to do much here. He can only try and pass realistically into the hairpin of turn 11. But that was quite a poor restart from ACW. A really nice one from Plebs. ACW has caught up a little bit. But he needed to be right on the gearbox of Plebs. As Pato, right behind Silderford, can't find a way by. King. Oh, as Pump goes into the wall and he's out of the race.
Yeah, I was watching
Safety car.
him.
Really?
Yep, safety car out. Yeah, so apparently. No, I was watching him. He lost it while he was battling with Key Dog. As soon as I got onto him.
Now, I say really because usually when a crash happens on the lap of the restart,
It doesn't come out.
it doesn't come out.
Yeah, I know. That's a bit shocking, too.
I've never seen this in F1 2021. I mean, this is a very logical thing to do. We had a car crash, bring out the safety car, but it never usually does this.
I guess Codemasters wanted to use its brain for once.
Maybe.
I mean, I have seen it happen before, but it's rare for me to see it happen before.
I don't think I've ever seen it. As a driver or as a broadcaster, I don't think I've ever seen it, so...
ACW tried to bluff, doesn't go in.
I think Black Moon might...
Oh,
hello.
Oh, hello. Hillis is going back in.
What's your game plan, Hillis? Oh, a few other drivers are in. I think Alex is in, Bags is in as well.
Yes. Hello, intermediates.
Intermediate tyres. Interesting. Well, the car that just crashed was on the Inter. So... maybe these teams didn't get the memo. And the teammate of the car that crashed has just bid onto the intermediate tyre. Mercedes believing that the Inters is the way to go.
Well, maybe James Vowles thought it was a good idea just to gamble on another driver to do
He
it.
has a gut feeling. Gotta trust that gut feeling.
I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting though, because the car that crashed was on the intermediate tyre, and these fellas have just put it on to a set of intermediates. So, well, hey, just a luck, fellas.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Yes. Either because you're looking at the onboard, it's just too much standing water.
There's a lot of spray. There's a lot of rain, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Definitely isn't intermediate conditions. Black Moon has stayed out as well on the Inter in P9. So maybe these fellas know something that we just don't, so
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
It might work out, it might not work out. Who knows?
I'm interested, though. I'm very interested. That's all I can say. I'm very interested to see what they'll do.
We might get a bit of drama now, towards the end, with those fellas slipping and sliding through the puddles, aquaplaning and whatnot. So, well, this gives ACW... Oh, that's right. Why do you do that in America?
When we say something different...
You just change things, man. We call it a pit lane, you call it pit road. It's a pit road.
Oh, that's NASCAR.
We call it a racetrack, you call it a road course.
Road course.
Road course. It's just different.
Our site's going in.
And don't even get me started on the miles per hour thing. And miles in general. That's just dumb.
I know the one will get you the most is temperature.
Oh, yeah. Temperature's great. Like, Celsius makes perfect sense because it revolves around water. When it hits 0, water is freezing. When it hits 100, water is boiling. But Fahrenheit? Water's frozen at 32. What?
No, was it? Yeah, it was a sort of random number. It's 32 degrees
32.
Fahrenheit.
Such a pluck out of nowhere. And what is it? How many yards there are in a mile is another stupid one.
Oh yeah. What was
1,670. 1,670 yards in a mile. Like,
yes. That's...
such a random number. Like, what is it? It's 12 inches in a foot. There's 3 feet in a yard. Like, they're fairly close numbers. Because, 3 goes into 12. 4 times. So how many yards are there in a mile? 1,670. Because that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
It's just, what number, how many yards are there in the mile? I don't know, just pick one. Alright, 1,670. There we are. That's a mile. Yeah, just deal with it. But you gotta love America for it. They just do things different.
We're just like that.
They're just different. That's okay. Ah, right. ACW has now got a second golden ticket to try and take Plevs on the restart, but he needs to read Plevs really well to try and get by.
He does. Stay on the gearbox if you can.
Yeah, needs to be close. Needs to keep those tyres nice and warm as well. So, as the safety car ducks back into pit road, I suppose. They come around the penultimate corner up towards turn 20, the final corner.
And does not stay with them at all.
No, he's half a second back. It's better than last time. And he gets around the final corner half decently, but he's 8/10 behind. Alex
Bags has done something wrong.
Pato is
Pato.
into the pit.
Never mind. Never
He's
mind.
going in. Around turn 1 we go. That's a very nice restart again from Plevs. Nice and controlled, and ACW just couldn't stay with him. Pro, meanwhile, is behind ACW. Half a second separating the two. They head through the S sector. We're up to the first sector split. Around turn 7 into turn 8. The gap between the top two is 1 second already. Silverfort just behind Roscoe Arm, unable to challenge him for P4. They head down the hill towards turn 11. See there the penalties as well. 7 drivers with penalties, a few with 3, couple with 6, 1 with 9, that being Silverfort and P5.
And also Blackman has not gained any time whatsoever, so the injuries are definitely not working at all.
Seems that the gamble hasn't worked. So
fair credits.
They decided to try.
That was close. Sorry. No, I was watching Ferrari Pro. Almost gets sideswiped by ACW there at turn 13.
Coming out of 15 now towards the triple right-hander. There's Plevs, ACW, and Ferrari Pro. They were the top 3 from last week in that exact order, if I remember correctly. From Singapore.
You would be correct. I do remember that.
Looking like it's going to be the same again here in USA, United States of America. Let's head into turn 1. Ferrari Pro cutting all of turn 1 there and then some. Wouldn't be surprised if he got a warning. It was awfully close to one.
Oh, so, you know what? I'll look at that.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity. No, he did not get a warning for it.
Really? He cut a lot of turn 1. He did not get a warning for that.
Nope.
Well, there you go. The more you know. As they head up through turn 9. Silverford is still right behind Roscoe, but he's unable to find a way past. Oh, he's deep and committed on the brakes, but can't find a way by. He just needs to find a run somewhere, anywhere, as Bags makes an error. Well, hello, Powersight. As Pato gets a pen. Yikes. He's down in 12th place, 21 seconds behind Bags. There's your race leader, and there's second place right behind. CW unable to challenge Plevs at this moment. Putting on a weather masterclass for this fortnight of racing. Last week drove superbly at Singapore, and he's doing the exact same here at Kota. Driving very consistently, rarely putting a foot wrong. Of course, ACW runs a tad bit wide and loses the back end at the exit of the final corner. The leaders begin lap 26 of 28, and Key gets by Andre. I think Andre made a mistake there at the exit of the final corner. So the Ferrari gets by into P6. In fact, Key He stands to gain an extra position because of Silderfort's 9 seconds worth of penalties. So it's looking like a top 5 finish for him as Hillers and Blackmoon change places for P8 and 9.
Well, at least you got the battle for the intermediates at least.
Oh, that's right. They're having their own little ding-dong battle back there. There's the top 5, all in one shot. Just shows you how close everyone is, but it's effectively a 2-horse race between Plebs and ACW, purely because of penalties. If there were no penalties involved, this would be a far more interesting scrap. Because you got 5 cars, realistically, having a chance of winning. But because of penalties...
Plebs goes very wide.
And here comes
He
ACW.
lost quite a bit of time.
Trying to look around the outside at turn 13. He can't get it done. Slots back in behind the McLaren. Or as Plebs covers the inside. Here at turn 15. ACW gets the switch back and tries to draw alongside. But Plebs has the inside line for the triple right-hander. So ACW can't get by. Nice bit of placement there from Plebs to hang on to the lead.
Great defensive driving from Plebs.
That's right. Making a small mistake, but he recovered well. And ACW couldn't quite capitalize as he tries to send it down the inside. They touch. And ACW's got a pen. A 3-second time penalty next to his name now. He slots into the slipstream of the McLaren. Darting up the hill towards turn 1 for the second last time. ACW tries to go the long way round. Plebs, though, forces the Alfa Romeo wide. They touch, they spin. They're both off the racetrack. Incredible. As Plebs tumbles down to 5th place. My goodness me, the race has taken a twist. Ferrari Pro is into the lead with Roscoe Arm in 2nd and Silderfort in 3rd place. My goodness me.
Whoa. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, one way of describing it.
Ferrari Pro, well, basically now has got the green lights, and he took advantage of it.
Absolutely, but it's not over just yet. Roscoe Arm is still 1.2, 1.3 seconds behind. So Ferrari Pro makes a mistake. Roscoe Arm will be right there, ready to battle.
I just think ACW could have just been a little bit more patient, that it wouldn't have happened.
Oh,
well. That cost him, I think, is going to be the patience.
Well, he's set for a podium place in that position because of Silderfort's 9 seconds worth of penalties. I think Keeg and Plebs will gain a position because of Silderfort's pens. Oh, and ACW has spun! He has spun at turn 15. Loses a whole bunch of time. There's Keeg, who overshoots turn 15. I wonder if it's now intermediate conditions. I just wonder. Look at Hillers here. He's closing in on Plebs. He's definitely closing in. It's now intermediate conditions. Look at him fly. He's closing in rapidly.
Right.
Now the gap between Hillers and the leader is 11.3 seconds. Can he close that in one lap? I doubt that. But he'll climb his way up the order as he's trying to overtake Plebs here down the main straight. They touch! They make wheel-to-wheel contact. Down into turn 1 we go. Hillers has the inside line and Plebs can do nothing about it. Keeg Doog is the next target. Going around the outside at turn 2. He'll give him the inside line at 3. He cuts him off.
They touch.
I don't think that was intentional. I think that's just a lack of grip on the full wet tyre in these conditions. Around turn 6. Going down the inside goes Hillers. There's nothing the Ferrari can do. Hillers is now into P5. Oh, that was nasty. That could have been really nasty there. Well, a late charge here from Hillers.
ACW is the next target.
Here we go. Down the inside. Nothing ACW can do. Blackmoon is making his way up the order now. Into P4 goes Hillers. Now, there's not enough time for him to take the win here, but can he close in to take the podium place away from Silderfort? The gap is 5 seconds. He is definitely close enough, and he will continue to get closer. Here comes Blackmoon down the inside of Keeg Duke here at turn 12 to take P6 away. The gap is 7/10 between the top two in this final sector. Who will claim the win here? Roscoe Arm is closing in little by little as they go through 16, 17 and 18 for the final time. Ferrari Pro just needs to keep the car within the white lines, not make any mistakes. Coming out of turn 19, up towards turn 20. It's going to be another win, it seems, for Ferrari Pro. Yes, it is. He will win the United States Grand Prix by less than half a second. And Gilles, I believe, will take the final podium spot in third. 4,000 separating Keeg and ACW at the end as well. So Keeg will then go on to fourth. Right at the end. It all kicked off. Well, how about that? The championship leader handed the win, I'd say. The two leaders coming together in the dying laps, rolling out the red carpet for the man in the red suit. Ferrari Pro taking the win here in Austin, Texas. Unbelievable. Roscoe second place. And Gilles completing the podium in third after a lovely charge on the intermediate tyre. To finish in P3. Keeg, look at that, from 15th after crashing out in qualifying. He finishes 4th. What an effort. Obviously, driver of the day, right there. ACW in 5th, Plebs in P6. What could have been? What could have been? Plebs will get the fastest lap point as well. Silver for P7, Black Moon in 8th, Powersight in 9th, Andre completes the top 10, then Pato and Bags Liddell. Those are our final finishes. Pump crashing out, Metz and Rude retiring. 3 retirements from this race, 15 starters, 12 finishes, and another win for Ferrari Pro. There we are.
Well, glad to see a bit of drama, but that's very unfortunate though for Plebs and ACW for coming together. But if that didn't happen, ACW would have gained a little bit more ground to Ferrari Pro in the championship.
That's flipped 180 degrees, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So what? It's a win to 5th place. I can't remember how much of a points increase that would be.
I'll look at that up for you.
I know it's 35 for a win. I'm pretty sure it's 35 for a win.
Is it 35? I thought it was 30.
I think it's 35. Oh, it could be 30.
30. ACW finished. So it's a 15 point. 15
swing.
Points. ACW. Yeah, swing. So ACW lost 15.
Gee whiz.
There you go.
All right, we'll invite the top 3 in. We can have a little chat about what just happened. We're back just a few moments as I invite top 3 in. Don't know if Gilles would like to chat or not. Don't know with Gilles. But we'll invite them all in. Where is everybody? Yeah, I do. There's Ferrari Pro, and where is oh, don't tell me you're off. There you are. Right, found you. I was going to say, don't tell me you're offline, because I know your first letter starts with V, and that would take me an eternity to find offline. So. Hello, Gilles. You're muted, by the way, I notice. Hello. I just want to make sure with you as well that... Oh, you're on PS5. This might be a bit tricky. That your party audio settings are all fine. This will be interesting, because I don't know how to do it on PS5. Hello, Ferrari Pro. Not much. Hello, Roscoe. No, I assume, Roscoe, your audio was all fine with sharing onto streams and whatnot, right? Could you Could you take Hillers through that process just to double check? You're blue screen, by the way, on stream, so no one can hear you. So you can say whatever you like. See, I would help out, but I'm on old gen, so I have no idea. Yeah, so if there is a setting, there should be allow your voice to be shared and always allow. Yeah, that'd probably be it. Righto. Okay. Well, we can find out. Alright, yeah.
Dream then.
Thank you, KD. So we got the top three in. We'll have a nice little chat about what just happened, shall we? We'll go from P3, we'll make our way up. So we'll start with you, Helez. What a last-minute performance. Took a gamble on the intermediate tyre, and it worked out right at the end of the race. But just before we touch on that, just take us through what happened throughout qualifying and the race itself.
Qualifying, it was very messy. I couldn't really get a lap together, and it was just cars all floppy and over the place. Balance wasn't good, but it was more set up for the wet, and off the start in the wet we managed to keep our position, which was the most important thing. And then the wet came and we just slotted in and had a boring race for about 20 laps, and then the inters sort of worth the game, and I knew it was going to come inters, and Jeff's just telling me wets are the best tyre, and I just went for it, and it worked out in the end. I could see in the last like 5 or 4 laps it was really drying up from the rain, and then we just had like 4 seconds just a lap faster pace than everyone else, and it just worked out magnificent. That word. Don't worry, I've been having that trouble all night as well. Don't worry. But yeah, it's I think even if I stayed out on the wets, I think it's hard to tell, but I think I would have stayed behind Roscoe anyway, so maybe another lap or two and could have been a bit higher, but still stoked with third.
I was going to ask whether you felt it was the right decision, but I think you've already touched on that, just believing that I think this result was sort of set, whether you were on the wets or not. But still, and how was that feeling coming through on the last lap? Just having all this traction compared to everyone else. Was it nice?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I think it was on the one of the Ferraris. I just went straight round his outside.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was so awesome. I rode on board with that. And he was so close to clipping you as well. So close.
I had to get out of it, and then I got it, and then everyone else is just a sitting duck.
Yeah.
It's really enjoyable when you're so much faster than everyone else.
You just cut through everyone, and they're all just left standing, and they can't do anything. It's great.
Yeah.
But no, I imagine then you're pretty stoked with this P3 result.
Yeah, I was only expecting a 5th place about 20 minutes ago, so I'll definitely take a 3rd place.
KD, have you got anything to ask Hillers?
What was the inters like from like before like the last few laps, like after the last restart? How tricky was the conditions for you with those tires?
They were just rubbish. You had to brake so much earlier than what you anticipate, and otherwise you just go straight on.
Oh,
and
yikes.
They hung on. We lost 10, 12 seconds, and we gained it back mostly.
No, that was. So you were tiptoeing even more so than you.
Yeah, I really wanted to get past. Black Moon, and I just sent it down the inside at one stage. Thankfully, he just saw me coming.
Yep, left enough room for you to get through. But no, that was a very nice thing to watch right at the end. Just cutting your way through. Made the last lap very entertaining to watch. So thank you for that, and congratulations on your P3 finish. Actually, wait, before I let you go, one final question I just remembered. Next week, we're heading over to Bahrain. How do you feel going into next week?
Oh no.
That doesn't sound good.
Bahrain is one of my worst tracks. I just won't get in a rhythm.
You know, I kind of relate to that. I don't mind the racetrack as a whole, but I don't know. I just can't get into a rhythm around it either. Always make a little mistake and, you know, I lose a bit of confidence here and there. Sometimes it isn't fun. So I can relate to that. Well, best of luck next week, I suppose. But for right here, right now, congratulations on your P3 finish. What fantastic effort. But,
Thank you.
We'll move on to P2. Roscoe, nice effort.
Yeah, g'day.
No, that was a great effort from you to come home in second place. You looked sort of lead pace throughout most of that race. I mean, I think there was a fairly hefty gap between you and Ferrari Pro at one point, and you closed into, well, within a second and a half, I think, of Ferrari Pro. And then everything happened at the end of the race as well, which we will touch on. But before that, just take us through qualifying and then the race itself.
Yeah, well, qualifying was a complete write-off because I knew the wet weather conditions, well, they were coming, so I knew the setup probably wasn't going to be ideal. I mean, I'd never tried it in a dry setup, but literally tried it like 10, 15 minutes before in time trial. I mean, it felt all right, but I was kind of hoping it would rain, and I got my wish a little bit there. So I guess I had to sacrifice qualifying a little bit, which put me down the pack a little bit. But there was a bit of a collision, I think, on the first lap between a couple of cars, and I just saw a gap down the middle, went for it, and gained 3 spots. So I was very, very happy. So that's going in overtake of the week, I think, for this week.
Oh, that's good to hear. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, no, but the wet pace wasn't too bad. I mean, intermediate pace, if I put the front wing up to 11, I was running 10, 11 for the dry, pretty much intermediates, because I wanted to keep just a little bit of straight line speed. But whether 11-11 would have been better in the intermediates, because that's when I went into the wets. So I went 11-11, and it seemed a lot pacier. I could catch the top 3, obviously, on pace. And then, obviously, safety cars sort of came out, and, you know, both myself and ACW, we were sort of contemplating about, is it the right time? Should we go on intermediate tyres or stick with the wets? We were really contemplating that quite a bit, but in the end, we felt better just to stick on the wets, because you pretty much lose track position, and, you know, where, obviously, I know Hilos came through the pack late on, but it didn't feel right just to take a gamble. Track position, gain a few points on your rivals is just the ideal. And then, obviously, ACW and Plebs, I know the fact they've got history together, but just a bit. But he tried to move down the inside of the final corner. I was probably told him a bit too late to sort of think smartly a little bit, but then obviously I don't fully understand what was going on. ACW's probably got his version, Plebs has got his version. I'm staying well away from that one because I know the history between those two.
Probably a good idea.
But yeah, so I just sat in behind, and obviously when it started to get a little bit into intermediate conditions, I was gaining a bit more on Ferrari Pro, but I mean, if I maybe had another lap or so, might have gone for the move, but second place, pretty happy. Second, or whatever, I don't know how many podiums I've had this season, but
I can check.
It's another second place, so yeah, I'll definitely take it.
I would as well. But no, I could only imagine what it's like sitting in that position and just seeing the two leaders who have no pens, they're out in front, and then they both off. And suddenly you're in a potential race-winning position, and then you get that shot of adrenaline thinking, I could win this. I could potentially win this. Let's have a look. See, this is your second podium after Silverstone.
Yeah, Silverstone was the other one, yeah.
So you'll get a healthy amount of points there, and you'll close in on Pump, who crashed out. Actually, you'll overtake Pump because he crashed out.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Gain a few more points on my nearest rivals as best I can, and I like I said, I've probably gained on pump, so that's a good sign heading to Bahrain. So,
But KD, have you got anything to ask Roscoe?
Nothing too much. I mean, you kind of just nailed up a lot of other things. But no, good job, Roscoe. You seemed like you were definitely up at the pace to keep up with the leaders, like you were saying, and that was a very solid effort. Unfortunate for ACW and Levs, and of course, mainly your team made it for your sake. But no, good job overall on your podium.
thank you.
And your final question. Next week, we're heading over to Bahrain, as you mentioned. How do you feel going into next week?
Well, it shouldn't rain, so that's a good sign.
That's the only guarantee we've got, let's be honest, going into next week.
It shouldn't rain. It's Bahrain. I mean, come on, surely it shouldn't. But
surely it shouldn't. You're right.
Yeah. But no, I feel like I've got some good pace around that track. Whether I can be up with the top guys again, we'll have to wait and see. But I feel like I've got some decent pace around there. So let's just wait and see.
Oh, I like the enthusiasm. Well, congratulations on your fine drive tonight, Roscoe. Congrats on the P2 finish.
Thank you, and congrats to the other two on the podium as well. Well done.
But, we'll move on to our race winner, Ferrari Pro. Congratulations. This is your 5th win of the season, and this will extend your championship lead. And I bet you weren't expecting that at all.
To be honest, like, I don't even know what just happened. Like,
to be honest, we kind of don't either, so I'm keen to find out. So,
bro, lap 1 was just like crazy with Pato and what's his face? The other guy, I forgot his name. But when they made contact and I was on the outside there, and I was like, oh my god, what's happening? Didn't know what happened there. Nice and relaxed throughout the race, and then when final safety car came out, it was just oh my god, what's happening?
It all just unfolded.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But you were right there, right behind the top two. Could you take us through what you saw on those final couple of laps?
Honestly, I couldn't see much because I was mainly focusing on just the track and looking for the damp spots.
Yeah.
I don't know really. I just saw a McLaren and an Alfa Romeo go into each other. Like as Roscoe said, I'm going to stay well out of it because I wasn't involved. But I don't know. Their stewards might have a tough time looking because I don't know.
Yeah, no. Fair enough. But no, how was it out there? Was it tough in the conditions to keep it on the racetrack?
Yeah, it felt a lot worse in Singapore actually. Like,
yeah, I'd imagine.
Not sure if it was my setup I was running or just with the general track. Like, it just felt like I was on ice the whole time, skating.
I suppose having more high-speed corners to deal with, there's a finer margin for error. Because as soon as it goes, you're ending up in a wall, more than likely. And that happened to a few drivers tonight. So, yeah, it's probably the nature of the circuit, not necessarily your setup. That was the key factor in that. But
I found the S section alright in the rain, actually. Like,
really?
I could see sometimes, like, some laps I was gaining a lot of time in plebs and ACW. And, as we all know what happened with them and, like, with the final 2 laps with the intermediates and that, just started to die off and, yeah.
That's, did you feel at all nervous with Roscoe closing in?
Oh, God, yeah. I was well and truly thought he was going to pass me, like, right after the first safety car. Like, I think I had a bit of a moment out of the final corner, and I was like, yeah, this is when he's going to get me this lap, surely. But, no, I kept it together in that.
That's... KD, have you got anything to ask our race winner?
What was your adrenaline like when you saw the leaders like just make that mistake?
Well, I knew
what went through your head?
I knew like Hillers was on the intermediates, and I knew as soon as they made that, it was starting to die off the rain. So I was like, all right, I'm in P1. I can't say I'm going to win yet because Hillers is on intermediates and he's catching like really quick. And I really just had to focus the whole last 2 laps, like literally everything, and yeah, adrenaline was high.
But heading into next week for A-Pro, we're going over to Bahrain. What's your thoughts heading into next week?
It's a bit of a tricky track for me. Like the downhill, like angled turn 9 or 10 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's always a pain.
I think me and Plebs had a bit of we had that side by side battle there last season and lost a fair bit of time in that corner, like a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna need to improve that time trial during the week, but no, it'll be good.
Probably see plenty of locking up into that section, I reckon. We'll see a big old carpet of rubber being laid out in the braking zone there for turn 10. Yeah, no, I'll be very much expecting that. But for here and now, congratulations on another victory for iPro and extending that championship lead. So congrats on the result.
Congrats to P2 and P3 also, well deserved, boys.
But, I think, KD, they'll wrap everything up here in Kota. Bit of a boring race for the most part, and then everything turned upside down for the final, 5 laps. Made it a very interesting race at the end. But, no, plenty of drama, plenty of action. At the end of the day, Ferrari Pro takes another win and extends that championship lead by 15 points, as you pointed out. So he extends from 28 to 43 at the moment. This is the unofficial results, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if the stewards had something to say after this race. But with everything finally over, it's time for us to end the stream. Tune in throughout the week as there's still plenty of racing to come here on Race Spec Esports, but for Pacific Elite, we'll have to wait until next Sunday. Until then, I've been Lane Everingham. My co-commentator for tonight is KD1997. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you for round 10 of the championship at Bahrain International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Goodbye.